I am a voice actor, I am a director, and I'm also a writer for Funimation Entertainment, Sentai in Houston, and a few places in LA as well. It's so nice to see you guys. So this is a Q&A, and you can provide Q, and I will provide A, and I am here. I can answer anything you want about, well, pretty much anything you want. But if you have any questions about the industry, animation in general, if you're interested in voice acting, if you've ever wanted to ask a question but been too nervous to ask in front of other voice actors, I'm the one that will give you the real answer. So it's one of my favorite topics. I love animation. I love it very, very much, very dear to my heart. So it's something I take seriously. But if there's anything you want to know, I'm here. We have an hour. Hey.
Quick question. It was an offshoot of the question I asked you yesterday. You were in theater arts, correct?
Yes.
Were you in any stage productions, and if so, what was your favorite set or story to work on before you got into voice acting?
On stage?
Yes.
Let's see. I was a theater major. That was one of my majors. I have many degrees, actually. It's a product of not being able to make a decision. Probably Babes at Toyland was one of my favorite shows to be on. Bus Stop. If you've ever seen Bus Stop, it's a really old movie with Marilyn Monroe, and I played the part she played in the stage production in college. So that was really fun for me. But when I was in theater, I hated it, to be honest. I'm one of the few people that I was so I loved it. I loved the idea of it, but I was so nervous before going on stage. And I went to a college where there were not that many people in theater. So, I mean, if you could remember lines, you pretty much got one of the main roles. So I was often the main leading lady, and I would just be sitting there like, oh no, before every performance. I was so nervous. I had so much anxiety about it, and I was very, very shy, so pretty much tried to kick my shyness in the bottom. No, it's cool. It's a cool song. But yeah, so I'm one of the few people that started off loving cartoons, and then my love of acting came from me loving cartoons first. Most people go the opposite route, where they love acting and they just kind of fall into voice acting. I wanted to be a voice actor from the beginning, so my story's a little bit different. Anybody else have any questions? Yes, hi. Are you Luffy?
How was it like to do the voice of the girl from
Data Live? Yoshino? Is it Yoshino and Yoshinon with the rabbit?
Yeah.
Right? I loved it. That was one of the few times, that was one of the only times I've ever pulled a diva move at all. I've been with Funimation for a long time. We went to audition for the characters, and when I saw her and her rabbit, I was like, that's me. I have to have this character. I fell in love with her instantly. So I went to the director and I was like, listen, Joel McDonald, listen, I've never asked you for anything, and I'm not going to start now. I need this character. She's mine. And I did some kind of voodoo magic on him, and I actually got that part. So that rarely ever happens. But I fell in love with some characters. When you see them for the first time, you fall madly in love with them. That happened to me with Happy. I knew I had gone into Fairy Tale, was going to read for Lucy. That was who the director wanted me to read for. But when I saw Happy, I was like, yo, that's me. And the same thing happened with Yoshino and Yoshinon. I love them. Have you seen the second season of that?
Well, I've seen the first, but I've seen the first or the first two.
She does a lot of sitting around. I was like, what? Do something!
I need your help.
I know! I really love that character though.
And her bunny.
Yeah, and he got to be naughty, and I love that. Anybody else have a question, Keely? Hi.
How was it to be happy?
I love being happy. He's my favorite. I still get to be happy. We're just catching up with the Japanese right now, but I love Happy. Do you watch Fairy Tale? Yeah? How old are you?
8.
8? Oh my goodness, you're 8 years old and you watch Fairy Tale. That's awesome. That's awesome. Are you with him?
Uh-huh.
Thank you for that. What's your name?
Gabriel.
Gabriel? That's one of my favorite names ever. Hi, Gabriel. Thank you for your question. I love playing Happy the Cat. Anybody else? Hi.
Okay, so this isn't like family related, but where do you buy your clothes?
Where do I buy my... Actually, it's funny that you asked that. So I try to do a lot of volunteer work and things like that. So nothing I ever have on costs more than very much at all. So have you ever heard of Plato's Closet? It's like that's where I got this dress for like $10. So yeah. I feel like if I'm wasting a ton of money on clothes, I'm doing something wrong. Like, but that's my mindset. But yes, I get a lot of my stuff from Plato's Closet. So when you travel, go to Plato's Closet, in other cities, and you have like more options. Like, I really love that store. Anybody else? I love how you're like, yes! Where do you get your clothes? Hi, Lucy.
I was gonna say I really enjoy you playing Happy because Fairy Tale is my second favorite. It used to be my first, but then One Piece came in my life. But I really love Fairy Tale and Happy. Happy makes fun of Lucy and Natsume together.
Yes.
So the question was, is being happy?
Happy? I think so. He gets to be a smart aleck a lot of the time, which I like. Do you remember that scene where he makes fun of Urza for being all heartbroken?
Oh, yeah.
It's so awful, but it's so awesome at the same time.
And then he flies off into the sky.
Happy's a lot meaner than I am, to be honest, in real life. He gets away with a lot. I'm still waiting for him to have kittens. One day we'll get there.
I wish he would just be with Carla.
Me too. Hey, it's her fault. I mean, come on.
She's missing out on so much.
I know. One day she'll wake up. Yes?
How do you stay into character?
How do I stay in character? Are you asking about a certain character or just all in general?
Like all in general, like how you can be easily happy and then sad and then mad.
Sad and then mad? Well, I mean, if you're an emotional person anyway, it's pretty easy to tap into those. Do you guys do you do any acting or anything? Like, or if you've ever been in a play or anything? Or you can express yourself in all kinds of ways. Like, do any of you do fan art? Or, fan fiction, things like that. Acting is just one of the many ways that you can be creative. So it just kind of comes naturally to me. And since I was a theater major and things like that, I learned how to access those emotions really quickly on the spot. So just a lot of practice. What else you got? Yes.
So you play a lot of cutesy characters, young girls, happy, all that kind of good stuff. Do you feel like you've been pigeonholed, or do you feel like, oh, that's my métier, it's fine?
At one time in my life,
Yeah.
I would say yes, I was, but that was because I was scared to try out for any other type of character. Now, I'm a lot of mean people, actually. More now in the last couple of years than ever before. And I don't know if that's because I'm growing as a person or my skill set's growing and I'm trying out for those scarier characters. Like Beast from Black Butler. I mean, she's not exactly like the Happy the Cat. Or Elizabeth Mabley from that one show. I forgot what it's called. Binto? No, that's not Binto. I'm really bad at remembering things. But yeah, at one time I was pigeonholed, but that's the thing, it's like, I know that there are always new actresses coming in and getting those roles, so it's up to me to expand my abilities and be able to jump into other characters' skin. So it's easy for me to play a cute person and a happy person, because I pretty much naturally am an optimist and stuff like that. So getting into that darker side is a little bit more challenging, but it's so much fun. So especially lately, I've been able to do that. So yeah, thank you for that. That was a good question. Anybody else? Yes?
Have you ever been in Pokemon?
I haven't been in Pokemon yet, but I've auditioned to play Pokemon, a Pokemon. But I think Caitlin Glass ended up getting it. So every so often I get to audition. So I'll bet I'll be a Pokemon one day. I'll be in your phone one day. Anyway, hi.
What's like the most craziest enjoyable role you've ever done?
There is a show called, oh my gosh, forgive me. I don't know if it's called, is it called Noreen or Noreen? Noreen, Miss Becky. Have you ever seen that? Miss Becky is like this wild and crazy teacher who's desperate to get married, and she's with Gabriel here. I can't really tell you what she does, but she's very, very scandalous and super, super fun, and she looks a lot like me. So when the director cast me, I was like, "This is what you think of me? A desperate old teacher wanting to get married." She's a lot of fun, and she's scandalous. So if you haven't seen that show, check it out. She's pretty naughty. Hi, what's up?
I do actually love Narnia.
Oh yeah, cool.
But you said you're really into cartoons and voice acting growing up. Were there any shows or actors in particular that kind of like influenced you? Or?
Yeah. So I'm sure you all know Tara Strong. You know, Jess Harnell is another one of my favorites. He plays Wacko in Animaniacs. I know him as Brer Rabbit. You probably don't know that. The Song of the South. So he didn't play Brer Rabbit in the movie. He plays him in the Disney parks now. And he's amazing. He also plays Roger Rabbit in a lot of the things now. So he's great. Before I worked for Funimation, I really loved Caitlin Glass. But now she's my friend, so I can't look up to her anymore. You know? It's like we're buddies. I've been in her house, so she can't be my hero anymore. So I have all kinds of people that I look up to. I mean, people in this industry are it's one of the odd places that people are usually really friendly with each other. So Lisa Ortiz, who plays, or he used to play Amy Rose from Sonic, I fangirled so hard when I met her. But I'm not allowed to fangirl anymore because I have her contact information in my phone, so I have to be professional. But I kid you not, we were both guests at the same con, and I stood in line for autographs, and I was like totally, I played it off like, yeah, this isn't for me, this is for a friend. Will you do like an audio recording? Say hi to you. And like we're both guests, they're just like, okay. Like, it's another friend included. It was for me, spoiler alert. But now we're friends. So you look up to people, but then you meet them, and then you realize, oh, you're a person, just like me. That was a good question too, thank you. I'm a little weird, I know. The story of my life. I have to live with me. Okay, anybody else? Yes.
Were there any characters that you got cast to play that you like weren't entirely excited for, but then ended up like loving them?
Not really. I can't think of any because I'm so thankful to get work all the time because you never know. You know, some people go into our line of work and they maybe get 1 hour of work and they're never called again. So every time I get a role, I'm like, thank you, we can eat today. Ramen noodles no more. So I can't think of any. There are some that playing them is a challenge, or maybe the director and I don't see eye to eye a lot, and they make it challenging. But I'm just so grateful to even just get to do this job. I can't think of anything that I'm like, oh, I don't want to go back and play that character. Unless the second season of the show is really, really dirty. And I'm like, weird about that. Which has happened, but I won't tell you what show. You can look it up. But that's a good question. Thank you. Hi.
Do you actually like fish?
Do I like fish?
Yeah.
Yes, I like fish. Hello. Yes, I like fish. I actually get fish a lot at cons. Fans bring me fish often, like Swedish candy fish. But I've gotten real fish before. How long have you had this? Like 8 hours. Okay. I can't promise you I'll eat it. Anything? Yeah. What's up?
You said earlier that you worked at Disney before you started getting into voice acting. What did you do for them?
I was with the college program. You ever heard of the Walt Disney College program? Okay, I was part of that for 6 months. So during that time, I worked on Splash Mountain. actually, which is why I have an affinity for Brer Rabbit. I also did a few parades, a few character things. I was here and there all over the park for 6 months. And then that changed my life. So if you're ever thinking about doing the college program, I would highly suggest it. It's a huge challenge, but it's very rewarding. I have stories from Disney that no one else has, like sitting in front of the castle at 3 o'clock in the morning and just no one else in the park and just sitting with me and, you know, the spirit of Walt Disney and just watching the castle and just being inspired. That's part of the reason I came back. You know, when I got to Texas, I was so inspired to be a voice actor because I chose that dream while at Disney. So without that experience, I wouldn't be here. So I'm very, very grateful to Disney for that. They work you really hard, no joke. I got it was like $7.25 an hour at that time, and all your money went to the rent because you had to live in like Disney dorms. So it was like a cycle of money. Like you'd work in the park, and then you'd give it back to them with your rent and buying things at the park. You're like, is this free labor? I'm too young to ask this. I'm just gonna go have fun. Anybody else? Yes.
You did a voice for a One Piece movie. I was gonna ask, are you planning to do any voices in the future for One Piece?
I will do any voice for One Piece that they want. I do play Z in the One Piece film Z. I play him as a little boy, but I also play Portia from the Foxy Pirates. Yeah, so I'm her. She's wild. But no, One Piece is one of those things that it's so massive. I mean, I'm sure I'll be in it again. You know what I mean? Like, there's there's more characters in One Piece than there are people in the universe. So I'm sure I'll be in it again. But yeah, I have a friend who's obsessed with One Piece. And, oh yeah, you're obsessed? Yeah, she had a One Piece birthday party last year, and I was Sanji. I was a long-haired blonde Sanji. But I was still Sanji to her. Anybody else? Hi.
So what is the voice acting audition process like, and how do you prepare for it?
That's a great question. So she asked, what's the voice acting audition process? So, and we'll go over this a lot tomorrow because I think we have a panel on just straight voice acting. But we get a binder full of characters, and we may be told what show it is beforehand so we could do research, and maybe not. If you're doing a Western audition, meaning for like something like, say, Fairly Odd Parents, and the show hasn't been made yet, you don't have anything to look up. So when you get there, there's a binder of characters, and you look through and you get a picture of the character. Like I got a picture of just Happy the cat, and then a few lines from the show. So one of them for Happy was, "Aye, sir," in a lot of different, like you're gonna have to say, "Aye, sir," sad, or joyful, or whatever. All these different, there's like 5 different lines. And so you say, okay, there's Happy, there's a character named Urza, okay, this is Urza's, this is her face, this is her description, she's grumpy, got it, and here's her lines, there's Natsu. When you just kind of like weed out people, like, okay, I'm obviously not gonna play Natsu, so I don't have to worry about his lines, but maybe Lucy and maybe Happy. So you'll look over their lines and just kind of practice them, think about, okay, what do you think Happy would sound like? Well, he's small, so he may have a high-pitched voice. He's a boy, so it may be a little bit deeper, So you have to kind of craft the voice by what the character looks like. And then when you go in, you say, I'm, insert name here, reading for Happy the cat. And then you go through those lines, just the 5 lines that you have. And the director will be like, that was great, thank you, you're done. Or, that was great, can you bring the voice up a little bit? Or can you make it a little bit more boyish? Or, tweak it here and there. And then that's it. You go home and you go eat ice cream because you're done. And then sometimes they call you for the work and sometimes they don't. Somebody else got it. And that's how our process works. And sometimes we don't even get to audition at all. Sometimes they just call us in based on our old stuff. So it's a little different every time, but I love auditioning. It's so much fun. And they try to get you to audition for somebody you might play, like that's your type, like some of us have types. And then somebody that's against your type, like a big scary woman for me would be out of my comfort zone. So auditioning for her is new for me and fun. It's a nice challenge. So that's pretty much how it works. It's pretty easy, but really nerve-wracking. It's like having a job interview every time you go into work. So that's kind of stinks. But once you get used to it, it's really healthy and fun. Oh, that helps. That was a lot of detail. I try to be thorough because when people ask that question, I don't know if you're interested in the industry, and if you are, I want to give you all the tools just in case. Because Funimation is one of those people, one of those companies that you could sign up for open call auditions and they could call you, and you go into audition just like everybody else started out, just like I started out. So I want you to be prepared when you go take my job. Anybody else? Any questions? Yes, in the back.
I know you work, what's your most favorite character you get?
Most favorite character, it changes all the time, but my default is Happy the Cat, because I've spent so much time with him. We've done over 200 episodes, and he hasn't gotten the girl yet, but he will. And I'm still waiting for him to have kittens, and I change his litter box, things like that. I mean, we're deep. We go far. Yes, ma'am?
I'm curious, what director is your favorite director that you've worked with and why?
Oh, that's a very good question. What's my favorite director to work with and why? Right now, my favorite director is Sonny Strait. You may know him from, he's Krillin. Krillin like a villain from Dragon Ball Z. I actually play his daughter in Dragon Ball Z. Yes, I do. But Sonny Strait is, he also plays Usopp from One Piece. He is very, very friendly. Our personalities just sync up. He's an artist first, and I'm an artist as well. So he's very fun. He's got a lot of stories, and he's just really relaxed. And a good director is not someone who will boss you around. A good director pulls the best out of you, and he knows how to do that with me. And with every actor, it's someone different they connect with, but I really connect with Sonny. Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you. I've never actually had that question before. Hey. Anybody here? Yeah, what's up?
Favorite ship in Fairy Tale that does not involve happy?
Oh my god. Does not involve happy? I don't know. It was Natsu and Lucy for a while. But I had Lucy and Loki for a while too. Fairy Tale has changed a lot since we started. I don't know. Okay, who's the clock? Horologium, right? Is that his name? And Lucy. Yeah. OTP. You can't judge me about my OTP. I don't have to defend it. I just love the idea of, like, I need a moment, and crawling into a clock and just like, don't talk to me, I'm having my moment. And then if he's your boyfriend, he's like, leave her alone, I've got this. See, you're already shipping it. Stay tuned for fan fiction. What else you got? Yes.
Do you ship Gajil and Nevi?
Gajil and Nevi. Yes, I do. I like Gajil.
They're so adorable together.
I know, right?
Every little moment they're together, it's cute.
If you ask Todd Habercorn this question, he'll always say Natsu and Plu. So when he says that in front of you, you make him defend it. He needs to explain it. It's really funny. What else you got? Yes?
How much creative freedom do you have as a voice actor?
None. As a voice actor, none. It's pretty much, well, you know, that's a lie. I probably have like 1%. So if the animation's already done and we're dubbing something that's already been done in Japan, we kind of have to do what the Japanese did because that's what the fans want. If it's an American cartoon, you have more leeway to kind of make the character your own. Like, I was mentioning Wacko from Animaniacs. He didn't have that Beatles sound before Jess Harnell did that, and he made that character his own. So in American cartoons, you have a little bit more wiggle room But as far as our stuff, not much. You have a little bit more as a director, which I also direct, but as a voice actor, So, it's still fun. I mean, I feel like I put my own twist on Happy the Cat, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think anybody else could go in and do it. Now, if I die and they replace me, I can't, it'll be their character, but I do feel like I put the Tia twist on it a little bit. That was morbid, sorry. What else you got? Yes?
When you're playing Happy the Cat, what was your favorite moment, like, being him? Like, the funniest moment? Or the best?
But one of my favorite moments is when they're crawling through a duct and Tiger Lily bumps his nose against Carla's butt and Happy loses his mind and he's like, I will kill you! Like, how dare you touch her? And it was obviously an accident, but no, it's a serious moment. So he challenges, did I say Tiger Lily? Panther Lily. Did I say Tiger Lily?
Yes.
You guys didn't even correct me. You're so polite. So Tiger Lily from Peter Pan was there. No. Panther Lily was there and he bumped his nose against Carla's tushy and Happy challenged him to a duel. And Panther Lily refused. So I think Happy won that by default. You're just like, yeah, Tiger Lily, totally. What else? Yes?
I want to ask about Megami and Shiki. That is one of my favorite anime of all time, and Megami is one of the greatest character arcs in anime, I think. I want to know, what was it like, without spoiling anything, the conclusion to her arc is, really brutal.
Yeah.
And what was it like voicing that versus, something more lighthearted or comedy like that? That was truly a horror, you know what I mean?
That was one of the only times I've ever cried in the booth.
Wow, I believe
Was
it.
playing that character.
Cried watching it.
Yeah, without spoiling it, Megami is a character that really wants to move to the city. She's from the country. And what happens to her in the show and at the very end is really heartbreaking. I cried because at that moment, I was doing the same thing. I am from Paris, Texas, very, very small town. And I graduated high school with 20 people, if that tells you anything. Everybody was a farmer. And at that moment when I was playing that scene, I had just moved to the big city from the country. And I was like, what's going to happen to me? Not that, maybe not that, but my spirit though. And I was just sobbing, and Mike McFarlane, the incredible director, was like, are you okay? Like, no, man, I need a second. But no, that's a beautiful show. And I'm so grateful I got to play her, because that's one of, what happens in that very end, and whew, it was intense. So thank you for liking that show. I really love it. It's just really hard to watch. When I see a character of mine cry, I don't know if it's because it's my voice or what, but I always cry when they cry. Sometimes, have you ever cried really hard and then looked at yourself in the mirror while you're crying? Like, yes, these are my tears. That's what listening to yourself cry in anime is like, I'm so sad. Or am I the only one who does that? Do you ever do that? Are you okay? You're like, no, you're weird. You're just like, this is what I look like when I'm sad. What else? Yes.
Do you feel how do you feel like your time behind the booth informs your directing and vice versa?
I wouldn't be able to direct as well without being an actor first, so I'm thankful that happened. But I've learned how to be a better actor from directing, for sure. Just even knowing how to tell people what you want. The first time you're directing and a person gives you a read that's not what you want, but you're hearing it in your head, and you don't want to tell them, oh, do it like this. But you need to be like, well, yeah. Just finding the words to tell them is such a challenge. So I had to learn to do that. The hardest people to direct for me are old men. because they look so sweet, and you don't want to tell your grandpa that he needs to do that line again, you know? So you're just like, can you give me something different? I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. But for some people it's women, or it's older women, or whatever. But for me it's older men. They're tough to direct. I know, it's random. But everybody's got their challenges, that's mine. Oh man. What else? You guys have some really good questions. Like, yes?
Do you have any experience in voice acting for like foreign live action films?
I do.
How is that different from working in animation?
It really isn't all that much. Despite stereotypes, they do try to match the flaps as best as they can, you know? I mean, obviously it's not going to sync up because those are very particular mouth flaps. Those are actual people. But I know with Funimation, they try their best to match the flaps and, you know, at least open and close on time and things like that. Video games are really different from anime. But live action, not so much. They're pretty much the same. Still kind of weird though, like you hear your voice coming out of someone who obviously doesn't look like you at all. Just like, whoa. That's so strange. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
What was it like translating your stage experience into voice acting experience? Like, kind of, would you have to go for that?
No, I totally get your question. It was, though I was nervous and scared a lot of the time when I was doing theater, I learned so much about being brave with, if you can go out in front of people on a stage and be brave with your body and brave with your voice, when you go into a booth and there's only 2 people in that room, you, a director and an engineer, and then you have to have the guts to reach down and really pull out the goofy stuff. You know how you can be kind of like goofy with your friends, and then you'll do something really funny, and your friend's like, do that again! And you're like, no, I can't do it when you tell me to do it. Well, in voice acting, you have to do it when they tell you to do it. You know what I mean? Like if someone's like, oh, that was really silly, do it again. You have to do it again. So theater gives you the confidence to do that, to do it again, to be silly, and not just be silly, be over the top silly. I maybe have to cry in one session, and then 10 minutes later have to fart in the booth. Not like actual fart, but like make a noise or burp or whatever. And I can't be, dang, Tia Ballard doesn't even do that. Yes, she does it. She's getting paid to do it. So you have to learn how to be confident in yourself in that way. And theater teaches you a lot of that. So it's really helpful. And you make a lot of good friends in theater. I don't always poo-poo on theater. It's just tough for when you're a really shy person, you know. Anybody else? Yes.
Who do you work the most with in Funimation?
Everybody. I'm pretty frequent. I'm one of those actors that kind of hops from booth to booth to booth. The number of booths we have open at Funimation changes. So when I started, we had 10 booths open. So Funimation was running from 10 to 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. We had night shift workers that would come in. And you ever watch the episode of SpongeBob where they start to open the Krusty Krab at night? And it's like, this place isn't made to, there's like green slime dripping from the walls. That's Funimation when it's open at night. I think about that, like, this place isn't, I'm not made for this. So then we closed the night booths, and it was just like 6 booths open. And then now that the broadcast dubs are happening, we're open all the time again. So I may be working from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. and every night. So we have a lot more directors. Thankfully, I work with most of them pretty frequently. So I'm very grateful for that. But after, when you stop working for one for a while, you're like, did I hurt his feelings? Maybe I should give him some candy. Please call me in. But you can't ask them to call you in, because that's awkward. You can't be like, hey man, haven't given me work in a while. There's a well-known actor that does that from time to time, and it's like, why, don't do that. It makes you look so desperate. Anything else? We've got like 20 more minutes together, guys.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, with the answer to the broadcast dubs, I know really time in the booth hasn't any change, but like, has there been any changes? Like,
What do you mean?
Well, with the broadcast dubs, like, is there any like change that you?
And how we do things?
How we not really have, but have you felt any change? Like, has there like, how do you feel about the broadcast dubs? Like,
I like them.
Yeah.
They just make me really tired.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to get sick. So, okay, the way broadcast dubs work is we're the same week, around the same week that it airs in Japan, that's when we start working on it. So if I get sick, oh no, I better get well really quick, or I'll have to be replaced. Usually, when it's like a DVD release, we work on a block of 6 episodes for like a month. So it's like, okay, if I'm sick for 2 weeks, no big deal. So broadcast dubs, we new episode every week. So when you're writing them, like I do, or when you're in them, it's like, okay, I can never get sick again. I have to have an IV of vitamin C, and this is my life now. So that's really how it's changed. But we all get a lot of work, so that's very good. We're very thankful for that. Anybody else? You had a question? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious, what sort of like when you're going into work, what is the process like in your work day?
It's different every day. So we're contract labor. So if you ever work for yourself, it's basically, I don't go into work every day. I go in only when they need me. And so if you're an actor who works at a lot of different places, you may go to Funimation one day, you may go to this studio another day to do a commercial, or you work 1 hour that week, and that's your work week. You work 1 hour because that's all the time they needed you. The next week, you may make enough money to, be okay for the month. So that's kind of what it's like. Every day's different. Sometimes I work a lot, sometimes I don't work a lot. Actors are really nervous a lot of the time. It's a stressful job, believe it or not, because you never know. Because once Fairy Tale is over, that's it. I don't get any more money to play Happy the Cat. It's an hourly rate, and once the job is over, so if I'm cast in a 12-episode show, and those 12 episodes are done, that's it. So you're always kind of hoping, like, when's my next project coming? When we have 10 booths open, thankfully I'm cast more than if we had 5 booths open, things like that. If you're in California and you're union, you may get checks in the mail every month, like, thank you for being a part of this. Here's a percentage of, the sales in toys or whatever. But as far as in Texas, we're not a union state, so we don't get that kind of stuff. Royalties are what those are called. So yeah, it's a really cool job, but it also comes with a lot of, oh, please let me get work. But any self-employment thing is like that. My dad he's actually a welder, and he does the same thing. He's got to wait for that next job. So it was just a decision you make. Does that help at all? I hope that answers that question. I want to be up here and be like, yeah, I'm mega rich, and I work all these hours. It's like, okay, though, no. That's not how it is. A lot of people have more than one job, Thankfully, I'm very blessed. I don't, but it's because I voice act and I write, for Funimation and things like that. So that's how it works. Yes. Did you have your hand up? Who? Somebody over here had your. Yes, you.
Well, just to kind of piggyback on that question, I was going to ask, have you ever had this, it seems like you work a lot now, but like during those moments where you're like waiting in between jobs, like what do you do to like kind of keep your optimism up?
Oh, keep your optimism up?
Yeah.
I just try to follow my bliss, whatever it is. I also draw and I write and not even just professionally. I write my own things. I'm in the process right now of designing a Mario comic because I'm a huge Mario Brothers fan. And I'm going to be doing that and putting that out. It's a lot of actors I know, all they do is play video games in their off time. Which is fine. Dude, no judgment, right? But if you only work 1 hour that week, or none at all, that's 7 days of playing video games, you know what I mean? And nothing else. So I try, while I balance my video game playing out, I also try to have other irons in the fire. Maybe not necessarily to make me money, but to keep my my dreams alive and my sense of creativity alive. Drawing and things like that keeps me remembering, oh, I love animation and I love cartoons. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm doing it, you know. So it's different for everybody. Some people have another full-time job and acting is their side job. You need to, my advice is to be doing something, because if you're not, you get that feeling of, I'm wasting my life. What am I doing? I don't work, I don't play, I'm stressed, and I'm not an advocate of letting yourself do that. Just pursue your passions and follow your bliss. And that may take you to an avenue that's not this one, and that's okay. And I think that's a lot of actors, they don't enjoy it anymore, and they're scared to let go. And it's like, if there's ever a time when you feel like, you know what, this isn't bringing me the joy I thought it would, just let it go. Just let it go. And it's okay to pursue other things, you know. I'm not saying do that. Don't, because you're so lovely. But definitely follow your bliss and keep your creativity up. That's what I would suggest. Because it's really hard sometimes, you know. But everybody's got hardship in their jobs, right? You always have like that person that you can't stand, that one person. Like that one manager, like, you, why can't you quit? Anything else? Yes?
I was wondering, what was it like when you got your first role?
What was it like? I was freaking out. And then I got my first, they give you a contract and you have to sign. And it's like this amount of money that you're like, whoa, it's not a lot. I promise you it's not a lot. But when you see it, you're like, oh, I've never made that much before. And I was like 21. I had nothing to compare it to. But, so I was on the phone with my granny. I was like, Granny, guess what I make? I got paid a whole hour. Yup, you know. So, which, by the way, the hourly rate, it's a nice rate if you get paid that 40 hours a week. But hey, if it's, you know, say it's not this, but say it's $40 an hour. Sounds amazing if you're working 40 hours a week. But if you work 1 hour that week, that's $40 for the week. Hooray! You know, every project's different. They all get paid different amounts. But that's just an example, just to put it in perspective. So that's called acting, folks. The money is not as glamorous as you think it is. Yes.
What was it like voicing Allegra in Cold Blockade Alabama?
I loved it. Oh my gosh, she's so crazy.
I love it.
Yes, and the director is Mike McFarlane, and he takes things so seriously. He loves his shows. I love her, and I want that show. I want her to be back. I want it to come back. I love it. I love her.
It's sold really well, apparently. So
Good. When he told me what she did to her crushes, I was like, yes. Everything about that, yes. No, I love that show. Anything else? Yes.
So when you're voicing the part and it's part of a conversation, am I correct in understanding the other actor's not there? So it's not like you would be on stage.
Right.
Right. So as an actor, how do you manage that aspect of the process?
Well, fortunately, sometimes the other actors have already recorded, so you can play off of them. But if you're the first one there, you know, no one has recorded yet, you're kind of talking into a void, you know? You just have to do the best you can, really. You get to preview the cartoon in Japan, so you at least know how the interaction is supposed to go. And then you just have to kind of wing it. It kind of sucks being the first one in. But yeah, we do the best we can.
But you're watching the cartoon as you voice it, is that right?
Mm-hmm. Well, some studios do things differently. At Funimation, like if I have, you know, my character says 3 lines, they'll play the whole scene in Japanese. I'm like, okay, that's kind of what the Japanese speaker was, you know, the seiyuu was doing. And then I go in and voice it. In Sentai in Houston, I don't get a preview at all. We just have to cold read everything. And it cuts the process down. It makes things a lot quicker, you know, but it also has its own drawbacks. So every studio does things differently for their own reason. But yeah, not having anybody to play off of is always tough. Yeah. In California, I know they do it around the table where all the actors are there. Most of the time they do it like that. And it's beautiful. It's a fun process. And I feel like when you're not limited by the mouth flaps, you can be a lot sillier, you know, and kind of go wild places. Like Rick and Morty, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure they're animating after the actors are done, you know, so you have to put the burps in the proper place, you know. All right, anything else? Yes, what's up, dude?
Any character that you just like really want to voice?
Princess Peach. I love Princess Peach. She's my favorite. Minnie Mouse as well. Those two are my heart characters. I never want to replace either of their voice actors, but I just love those characters so much. They're like, oh. There's actually a Mario radio where you could go on and listen to Mario music 24/7, and I play Princess Peach on the ads. Just for fun. I was like, let me do this. And they're like, okay, professional voice actor, you can play Peach in our ads. And I was like, this is my moment. But I really like Peach when she has a high-pitched voice, you know? And they were like, that's a little too high. We like the deeper Mario 64. I have baked a cake for you. And I was like, ooh, okay. This is not in line with my vision, but I'll do it. Yes.
Can I hear you demonstrate your Peach voice?
Oh my gosh. If I were doing Peach's voice, I would make sure Peach is such a pure character to me. She's so good and she's so loving and just wonderful and oh Mario! She's my favorite because she is dainty in the most stressful of circumstances. She'll be with, have you ever played, okay, I know you played Smash Brothers, right? There's like a clip where, is it Sheik?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes.
It's like Sheik and Fox McCloud are like, rah, about to fight, and then Peach is there with like, let's have tea. And then they're all like drinking tea. That's Peach. She brings dainty, calm, feminine strength to any situation that's stressful. And that's what I want to be. I'm not that by any means, but that's what I want to be. I love Peach. Oh, love her. But yeah, she's my dream role. I also like to play anyone in Sonic. I love Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh my goodness. I love him. Tomorrow, if I can figure out a way to hook my computer up, we're going to do an auditioning panel, and it's all Sonic the Hedgehog audition sites. Those are for me, not for you. I mean, like, you get to do them, but I get to enjoy it. Like, I love Sonic. So I hope you come to that. If we can figure out how to hook my laptop up. It's always really fun to do. I have like 10 minutes left. Are there any more questions? Yes?
So you play Anime in Promise of a Kiss. If you were going to be a god of the land, or I mean a god, what would you want to be if you had your choice of what type of god you want to be?
Oh my gosh. That's so hard. I really don't know. If I were a god, by Tia Ballard, whatever I would be, I would make sure to be kind. I would be very kind. I don't know what my particular power would be, but I've been asked before, like, if I had a superpower, it's kind of like along the same question. And my superpower would always be, I want to know what would make you laugh. Like, what, no matter what, will make you laugh. Because nobody can stay angry if they're laughing. Unless they're laughing maniacally. But that's not what I wanted to know. Like, what will make you laugh maniacally? But yeah, that's my superpower. So, I'd be a god of laughter. Oh, I love that show so much. Is there going to be a third season? I hope. I hope so.
Yeah, they have OVAs, but I'm not sure. I always heard that OVAs were kind of off limits. Like, I mean, OVAs that come with mangas are usually off limits to licensors.
Yeah, sometimes. Does anybody have you guys ever seen Gunslinger Girl? It's kind of old school. That's my favorite show of all time. Oh my goodness. That's the show that made me want to become a voice actress. I like gunslinger girl, yeah. And my favorite character is Triella, who's played by Caitlin Glass. And when I went to her house for the first time, I was like, this is Triella's bathroom. Ah! Click, 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 awkward like pictures. I'm a freak. That's okay. I was 21, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't count. It's mulligan. All right, I have time for probably one more question. Yes.
When you were, you mentioned that you're a writer / director at Funimation. Which came first? Was it the voice acting or the directing /
Great question. I was a voice actress, and then I was a director, and then I was a writer. And I'm directing right now, just kind of like a substitute director, like if someone has to go to a con and things like that, because the writing takes up a lot of time. But yeah, I've got my hands in quite a few pots of animation. And I love them all. I'm very grateful for them all. And I think each job informs the other. It makes me better at the other, you know. Like if you're writing to flaps, it's easier to voice match flaps while you're acting and things like that. And you had a question in the back. Who had a question in the back? Yes?
So as a voice actor, you have to be very aware of your voice. Does that help you sing at all?
Help me sing?
Yeah, can you sing?
I can sing when I practice singing, but that's one of my great weaknesses is not singing, but singing in the booth at Funimation is horrifying to me because a lot of people there are actual professional singers, and it gets in your head. And I mean, I can fart on command for you, but like singing a song, are you serious? One of the songs I've sing. Mizune and Rosario plus Vampire, she sings a song called Snowstorm, and that song has gotten so many hits on YouTube, and to this day if I hear it I'm like, oh gosh, I'm hyperventilating, just because I remember how scary that was for me to do that. And fortunately the fans really loved it, and she's a quiet, shy character, so it worked, but it's frightening to do that. So to sing in the booth, I would have to sing comfortably in the booth, I'd have to go and take vocal classes and things. And I've always been in choir. I know I can sing, but that like bit of fear is still there. I would have to work on that. But yeah, it's different. It's different. Like singing a song and you're like, oh, am I screwing this up? Oh my goodness. Miss Becky sings a song in No Remake. Yeah. Oh, your face though. She's like, she sings about how she needs to get married, and then she just goes off at the end like, like a psycho seagull. It's like, this is the kind of song I'm comfortable singing. Oh, it's a great show. Anybody else? I know I said like one more question, but we are at 4:24. We have like 5 more minutes left. Yes.
So I know that it's timing involved, but how do you get the timing to match with the mouth movements? That's
the engineer's job. So you read the script as it's written and you act, and it's the engineer's job to make sure like that fits, and if it doesn't, you have to do it again. But they can stretch it or shrink it to a certain extent. But if it's way off, you may need to edit the script a little bit or do the line over. So it's a community effort. It takes several people. The voice actor, director, and the engineer all working together.
Is there like any instances where you have given a suggestion and then they went with that, like changing the script or a word? Maybe this word it doesn't match the mouth flaps, can we change that to make it line up, and then they'll change it?
Yeah, that's happened from time to time. Also, they asked our opinions sometimes when we have several options for lines, and they'll say, which is funniest to you? Like, which one would the character say? I've had, they ask me that about Happy sometimes. What do you think Happy would say in this situation? And I pick which line I think he would say, or if I have another idea. And then you feel all special, like, ooh, look at me all informed about my character. But yeah, it really is a community effort. Yeah. One more question if we have it. Who's going to close us down today? Yes. Dum da dum.
What do you do at the end of the day just to wind down after work?
What do I do to end the day to wind down? I go on Tumblr.
I knew I wasn't the only one.
Why is that funny?
Because most of us do the same thing.
You mean like I'm a person? What? I love Tumblr. It's one of the few places where I can just like, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of places like Facebook and Twitter, that's like for marketing. So I have to be like, I'm Tia Ballard, But on Tumblr, I'm like, I'm people like all this Lorax stuff and no one can stop me. The one slur, yes, all day. And then I have like I have a Tumblr, and then I have a more secret Tumblr, and then I have a Sonic the Hedgehog fan art. You can't judge me because you can't find me Tumblr. So like, no, I get it. Tumblr's magical. I also have Pinterest, and then I have like 3 secret Pinterest boards. That's all like fandom stuff. Like, yeah, don't hug me, I'm scared. The clock would totally date the notepad, and I'm gonna reblog every fan art I find. What's up? So I'm a fan first. Before I was a voice actor, I wrote Super Mario fanfiction, no lie. You can probably still find it on fanfiction.net. If you find my old live journal, I was going to marry at 18 years old Manta Oyamada from Shaman King. He was like the one that was like 3 foot tall. Like we were OTP all day. I even had a marriage certificate. Like, no lie, it's on my live journal, you can find it. It's like, Manta Oyamada and Tia Ballard married this date, 1999. It's like, we've been married for so long. And fan art, I do fan art and things like that. So fan first. If you have a love of cartoons and animation, you belong in this industry. That's what I think. Because if you're in this just to make money, you're not in it for fun. So, obviously, if you want to make a living at it, you have to make money. But if I can't get on Tumblr at the end of the day and reblog my OTP stuff, what am I doing with my life, though? Like, for real. Scourge the Hedgehog, he's my favorite, by the way. I don't know if you know anything about Scourge.
Sadly he's off limits now, though.
I know, right?
Yeah.
He's so awesome. He's my favorite.
He's been decommissioned.
I know, I'm really upset.
Yeah.
I look not upset, but there's rage behind my eyes. Like, Scourge is my favorite.
Wait, did something happen to Scourge in the comics or what?
No, the original creator filed a lawsuit, and then all of the characters have to be removed.
Long story short, Sega got involved, and they were like, okay, no more fan characters, and also, can you stop with the romance, please? Thanks. Which I don't mind, because I'm not a fan of Sally and Sonic. But my Scourge got mixed up in that, and it makes me really upset, because he's my favorite of all time. Oh, Scourge, they don't understand you in prison.
Edgy green Sonic.
Huh? He's awesome. He got arrested. Dude, he's so cool. Don't get arrested. I'm just saying, in the world of Mobius, gosh, it's really cool to get arrested. What? On that note, I should probably end this panel before I get a little too out there. Thank you so much for coming. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, but thank you so much for seeing me in the hall, giving me some lovin's. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of the con. Thank you.
Thank you.